Thank you for listening to Right Jokes, Wrong Times. Today I was joined by King Kwasi. You can follow him on Instagram at King Kwasito. This episode was actually filmed after an open mic. It's the first time that I've done like a full-blown live episode. And bear with the wind, I didn't want to do it in the cab of my truck, because COVID and all that shit. So we actually did it standing across from each other on each side of the tailgate. And at the start of the podcast, Joey Smith pulled up. So we started the podcast talking to him about what he was doing.
He out here cruising for prostitutes and shit. You on the wrong street, bro.
You think his tastes are as high as prostitutes?
I think he got at least $40.
No, I doubt that. Joey, how much money do you have on you right now?
Oh, I got a plastic card.
They take Square?
They probably have like Zelle Pay.
Hey, you got to take Square to get in this box.
Write that down. Write that down. Buy Great Value, Mac Miller.
I told him I love when he tells me jokes because I can hear what it sounds like with Bam Margera bombed every joke.
Everything he says is like an attempt at a joke.
Dude,
the whole conversation.
Okay, I don't know about you, but I feel awkward as fuck usually doing anything like this. Anything that's out of the ordinary. We're in a parking lot right now. This is the first live podcast I've actually done.
I've sold weed before, so I've been in a parking lot doing awkward shit.
You sold weed?
Past tense.
That's all brand new to me.
Like selling it or buying it?
I don't know anything about it. Dude, I'm brand new to CBD. Like
Okay,
CBD is rocking my life.
That's what we call an area. And like, in certain urban areas, that's white people shit. So, yeah, no, man, like when I did, it was more like I was kind of like smoking for free because everybody knew I smoked. So I like just bought a lot, like a big quantity.
Yeah.
And sometimes I would just sell to the people that I knew. And so I get my money back. I make a little money and I always have some money for more weed. So it was like a vicious cycle, but in a good way.
One of my first jobs was Peter Piper Pizza, and that was because I wanted a free pizza every day. I got a free pizza every day.
That's a great mindset to have.
Yeah.
Because it's like they tell you don't mix business with pleasure, but then you do it and make money.
That's because they know, because the people that told you that, they already mixed business with pleasure.
They don't want you to have the release of those endorphins.
Yeah.
They're selfish as fuck.
They can't have the business and pleasure like we have it.
You're supposed to share the wealth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you think security would shut down my podcast?
Well,
They're like, nobody listens anyway, so
they
we're
might
good.
they might want a guest spot in this world we live in.
They're like, what podcast is this? So I asked you to think about a joke of yours that you have that works on stage. So what do you have for me, man?
It was like my signature go-to joke was my hat joke, and it's like me talking about the 3 different ways a black person wears their hat. It's always kind of like it was like a go-to joke.
Wait, so what are the 3 different ways?
Well, you got like let me show you because I got a hat on. I just happen to have this hat on. I didn't even plan to do this. This is crazy. Talk about serendipity. All right, so look, there's 3 different ways you can learn a lot. It's kind of like how I tell the joke. The first way is like to the back black guy. He's pretty cool and like he might have like a felony, just depending. You know what I'm saying? But he's gonna be like cool, like passive aggressive black guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he's cool, but don't say the wrong shit. You know what I'm saying? Because he's been through some shit. That's why the hat is to the back. He trying to chill. Then you got like this guy to kind of like to the side. Like not quite Flavor Flav, but close. That black guy is cool because he's more like corporate America, watches anime, Fast and Furious black guy. He probably wears like Adidas and Saucony and shit like that. So he's cool black guy. But like the black guy you got to watch out for is the guy who kind of wears it like on top of his head like this. Because this, like if he's wearing it kind of like just like sitting on top of his head, like somebody just threw that shit on a mannequin, like fuck it. The mannequin doesn't care. You know what I'm saying? Like this, it's kind of like sitting on the top of his head. So he's wearing it like this. It means that in the black culture, we haven't worn our hats like this probably since like the 80s. Okay. So if he's like wearing it like that means he just got out of prison and he doesn't know. Obviously someone is scared to tell him.
Right.
So you got to be careful with that black guy. Like if you're walking down the street with that black guy and you see he's got that hat on, this is the part where I tell the white people in the audience to pay attention. Like if you see this black guy, don't make eye contact. Don't. You know what I'm saying? Don't make any sudden moves. Like don't try to cross the street.
Don't move
Just
quickly.
Breathe in and get through it. You know what I'm saying? So
okay, so obvious question. Which way do you wear the hat?
It just depends. It depends on like my mood.
You feeling sassy?
How much I got in my pocket. If I got warrants, you know what I'm saying? So, because if I got warrants, I'm definitely fresh out of prison black guy. Like, don't fuck with me.
Basically, anything for a white dude that's not forwards or backwards is Kevin Federline area. If you go anywhere besides completely forward or backwards.
Man, you can't give Kevin Federline that much credit. Like, he's a fashion icon. Man. Well, like, I think with white dudes, it just depends because too much to the front, you look like the police.
That's
too
true.
much to the back, you look like the police. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a weird, like balancing act of, like, I guess, like your whole demeanor,
Yeah.
kind of like what you got on. If he got on some like nice shorts, like khaki shorts, but not like with the pleat in the front, like the flat. You know what I mean?
Is it my fault that undercover cops shop where I shop? They have my same taste?
I mean, obviously y'all have something in common. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's the burning desire to have a bunch of V-neck shirts, you know what I'm saying, or to lock people up. I don't know.
I'm excited to hear about a joke of yours that you have that didn't work on stage. What do you have for me, man?
I had like this joke. It was kind of like, I try to be witty.
Yeah.
A little bit.
What do you mean you try to be witty? Because you are witty.
Well, I try to make it translate and not just tell like straight to the point jokes to make you think of just a little bit.
I got you.
I lost my train of thought because look, I seen this truck is sitting over there. It's got the lights on. I'm like, it's not even close to a business.
Maybe he's mad that he doesn't have his podcast equipment set up on his tailgate.
He could be watching.
Dueling podcasts.
Or maybe they think there was some type of fucking. You remember back in the 80s when communists were a big deal? They're like, who are these fuckers in the parking lot? So
maybe we're having like the best rap battle ever. Back and forth.
What is this, the battle for racial supremacy in the park? All right, joke that didn't work, man. Shit.
While you think of it, can I tell you something?
Go.
I think it's funny that every fucking time I see somebody that is pushing for white supremacy on the news, they are the ugliest looking person that could ever try to push for supremacy.
They're not even convincing.
They're the worst example.
Yeah. Like if I was going to follow somebody,
yes,
it's not going to be you, Like
you can't push that you're the supreme race when you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, I'm a 4. You know what I mean?
Hard 4 too. Lost my train of thought about the joke I wanted to talk about. So like one of my jokes I used to lead with was my comedy is cerebral.
Right.
And like I started off with that joke because I told it one time and I got a good response. It's like a 50-50 joke. Maybe depending on the room. Some people will get it, but sometimes I have to force it a little bit. Like I got to kind of like play with the crowd a little bit because it's long and sometimes a little dry, but it's not a joke. Well, like, man, it's a joke that I felt like I didn't want to use a lot only because I didn't like the response it got as far as consistency.
Like I'm in the same boat, right? You're like, I think that kind of works because I've seen it work a couple times. But like, if you need some, like a joke here or there, you're like, okay, let me see if that works on this room because this room's a little funky. That seems like such a smart joke, and I don't write smart jokes because I'm stupid. Like, I would imagine I've seen very smart comics get up in a room and like they will kill a smart room. But there are rooms that tend to, in my opinion, come off a little smart, where like you almost need one-liner jokes. Or you talk about being cerebral, right? Or just anything. And like they kind of run with that a lot better some nights than...
Well, I think too, man, like from my experiences up to this point, and just like me as a fan too, comedy is like food in the sense of everybody have a different taste.
Yeah.
Certain people have their audience.
Right.
So if I'm coming to see, you're the headliner and I'm coming to see you, I know what I'm getting because I follow you clearly. So I know what comedy I'm getting. But if you're maybe like a guest spot or like a feature and people don't know you, you don't maybe always have the luxury of like knowing the room.
Right.
So some people, what they come for in the expectation of laughing is different. Some people want to hear witty. Some people want to hear dark. Some people want to interact with you. Some people want you to cuss them out. Some people want you to be vulgar. Like everybody kind of have their lane. People are different. But sometimes it's just a lot of one specific person in the room.
Yeah.
Man, look, as you was talking, the joke I want to talk about, it came to me.
Yeah.
I remember my phone was like broken. And it was legit broke. So I came up with this joke. It was in my, like the early days. Because I dropped it and then it was like fucked up. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to just, like try to ride out as long as I can. So it's fucked up. I'm on stage and I don't want to be having to fuck with it. So I come up with this joke of why I got to touch it, like while I'm on stage. And the joke worked pretty well up until the point where the thing I had in there was like, I got to touch it like, I'm not a Catholic priest or nothing.
Oh, Jesus.
And then like, I would just like lose the room.
Dude, yeah.
Like maybe one person would laugh how I just laughed. Like one person, and it would be so awkward. But like at that point in time, it would just be like, no, don't go there.
One of the first jokes I ever wrote was a Catholic priest joke. You want to hear it?
Go.
Why do Catholic priests wear robes? Because altar boys can hear a zipper a mile out.
Oh, wow.
And I told that a couple times, and I was like, maybe I don't say that ever
Yeah,
again.
maybe don't ever put that one in rotation. Yeah, man, like you tell the joke, and it's just like they make you feel awkward.
Right.
Because nobody laughs.
That is one of those, it's like, oh, it's like everyone knows it's true and it's funny because it's true. But people don't want to laugh at. Like, that's not a good look usually to laugh at.
But man, I think sometimes you might tell a joke that's worked before, right?
Yeah.
And you're just using it in a different venue, in a different crowd.
Right.
And it doesn't work. And you looking like, fuck is wrong with y'all, man? This shit just worked like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Like at least 30 people.
I can't wait to have that feeling, man, where I could be like, hey guys, this actually works somewhere else. No.
I had, man, like my first out of town experience, I told jokes that I had been telling at like bars and shit.
Right.
And they was not working.
Yeah.
It was like the roughest, probably 2 minutes.
Damn.
I was like, maybe, and it might not even been 2 minutes, but I think when you're bombing, it feels like a long ass time, man.
Yeah.
You know, like that the first joke doesn't hit,
Yeah.
and then maybe you try to ad lib and that doesn't work, and then you're like, well, how about this joke? And they're like, no, fuck that joke too.
All right. Well, let me ask you if you don't mind to wrap up. So what have you been writing about now?
Man, I've been trying to write loosely about what's going on in the world.
Right.
But not too much about one particular topic. It just in the sense of, I know people want to hear about like my take on what's going on right now.
Right.
Because I think that's what you want to hear from comics to some degree, right?
Can I be honest? That's actually one of my favorite things right now is every comic that I haven't seen in forever. I haven't seen you in a long time on stage. Like I haven't seen your set. I'm dying to see all these comics that I know because I want to see what's on their mind. That's exactly what you're talking about.
I think I think that's what people come to expect from a comic.
Right.
That they want to hear like your take on shit,
right?
But in a humorous way,
yeah.
Because they know you're gonna be funny when you talk about whatever it is you're talking about. But I don't want to be cliche,
right?
You know, but I also feel like there's certain things I definitely want to discuss. There's certain things I like feel like everyone's gonna talk about that, so I don't care.
Yeah,
you know, but some of it is like it's like the world, you know, like so it's almost like talking about French fries, and then it's like, well, this other person got a joke about French fries. Well, like, motherfucker, it's French fries. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody. Do you know what they do to people in Japan over French fries?
No,
I don't either. But I know they're a delicacy over there.
It's a delicacy.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that they're probably like the way we rob people for Jordans over here. It's probably like that with French fries.
They're like, I got to get some potatoes, man.
Yeah, I remember when McDonald's went to China.
You went to China?
When McDonald's did.
Oh.
You know, when I was younger in the 80s, it was like a big deal to have McDonald's over there.
I'm sure you know this. McDonald's overseas is actually much better than here, much like better quality.
Right.
But that being said, that's a damn good salesman that sells U.S. McDonald's abroad. They're like, hey, you got to have this in your life. And they're like, you know what, we'll take it.
No, look, they know that the McDonald's here is fucked up because we'll allow it. They're just like, hey, you got a good product. And people just want to eat McDonald's because it has the name on it. But we're going to make some changes to this shit because this is Europe and that's what they do. You know, or this is fucking Frankfurt, which I think is still in Europe at some point. But
I don't know anything about Europe.
I'm just going off the globe at this point. Like I'm just thinking of a globe.
Let me ask you this, and I'm going to plug a podcast that it made me mad when I heard it on Something for the People. They were talking about In-N-Out and Thousand Island on burgers. They were talking about Big Macs as well. Thousand Island on burgers. For or against?
Against.
Thank you. God damn it. Thank
you.
All right.
Like I've eaten a Big Mac before, but I didn't know what that was like. You know, I was like, I mean, let's put it in perspective. I was fucking 8 years old. You know what I'm saying?
So on a Big Mac
I was like, oh shit, it's a Big Mac. I want to fucking eat a Big Mac. And then as I got to probably like 10, 11, 12, I was like, what the fuck is this sauce? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like this doesn't make sense to me. And then when I found out what it was, that was the end of that.
This isn't a salad.
Career. It's like, no, fuck that shit. I tried In-N-Out. I left with the distinct feeling of people will settle. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe I'm trying too hard. You know what I'm saying? Because clearly the product doesn't have to be that good. And motherfuckers was hyping In-N-Out when it first came. You gotta try In-N-Out shit in California. And then I tried that shit and I was like, this is why California is about to fucking break away from America just as a continent. It's about to be its own fucking continent. It's so fucked up over there.
You were like, maybe I should get into making burgers and selling burgers. You know, they can do it.
I said, man, I'm overthinking life. You know what I'm saying? This shit is not what they told me it was going to be. It was like the fries, you know, they hyping all this shit.
Of course you were overthinking it, man. Your comedy is cerebral.
Like Professor X.
Thank you for being on with me, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate you, like, you know, making this makeshift tent outside.